Hi, I'm Michael Beardsley, and today we're doing another episode of Hollywood Issues. On the last episode, we talked about the tragic shooting on the set of Rust, and we're going to talk about that more today, including the lawsuit that Hannah Guterrez-Reed, the armorer, has brought against the company that supplied the ammunition to the film. The last video I did on the Rust shooting was by far my most popular video. My point being that people were interested in this topic, not that my video did so well. Unfortunately, I had to pull the video down and then repost it because I made a very unfortunate typo in some of the on-screen text. It said the incident happened in 2001, not 2021. I thought that was a bit disrespectful. If you want to see my previous video on Rust, it's in the description below. If you don't, well, here's a quick recap. I basically said there were 3 people that made mistakes on set that likely contributed to the accident. Alec Baldwin, the armorer, Hannah Guterrez-Reed, and the first assistant director, Dave Halls. Before we get to the lawsuit, let me do a little housekeeping. Let me clarify a few things I said in my previous video. I said that aside from being the one that was holding the gun, Alec Baldwin could have some culpability as a producer. By this I meant that as a producer he might have been involved in hiring some of the other positions on set that might have been filled by unqualified people. That being said, the term producer can mean a lot of things. It could mean that he's actually the one that put together the pieces to produce the film, or it could just be a title he got for the prestige and to make some extra money. There were a total of 11 producers on Rust. 6 of them were just regular producers, plus 3 executive producers, 1 co-producer, and 1 line producer. I suspect Alec Baldwin was not really a hands-on producer. Then some people are going to say, like, well, he was the producer, he was on set, he had to be responsible, he was in charge. Not really how it works. The producer is usually not even on the set. The day-to-day running of a set really falls on the first assistant director. The producer puts the people in place, but in terms of keeping the trains running on time, making sure everyone's where they should be, doing what they should do, making sure the production moves along, that's all the first assistant director. In this case, Dave Halls. Some people might hear the title assistant director and think, oh, that's the guy that gets the director his coffee. No, it's not an assistant to the director. It's an assistant director. It's a much more important position.
And that's where you have an assistant regional manager.
Yes, it is. Assistant to the regional manager.
Same thing.
No, it's not. It's lower.
In the comments for my last video, there were a lot of people defending Hannah Guterrez-Reed. Some of them said that she was banned from the set by Alec Baldwin, which frankly doesn't make any sense. However, she wasn't on the set at the time, and there is a reason for that, and some people commented this too, and they were right. It was because of COVID. Every set that's union, and this is union, has a COVID compliance officer. And this person makes sure that there's not too many people on the set at a time. So they'll have like the set people come in, and then they leave, and then the camera and the actors come in to block the scene, and then they leave, and then the lighting guys come in, and then they leave, and then just the essential people come in to actually shoot the scene. Now, should she have been allowed on set to hand Baldwin the gun? Yeah, she probably should have. There was a little breakdown there. And a lot of this is addressed in the lawsuit. This lawsuit actually covers an incredible amount of ground with an incredible amount of information, but basically Gutierrez-Reed is claiming Seth Kinney and his company PDQ Arm and Prop sent live bullets mixed in with the dummy rounds. Before we proceed, let me explain a little bit about the different kinds of ammunition. Now, dummy rounds are basically just hunks of metal that look like bullets. They have no gunpowder, they're completely inert. And then you have blanks, which do have gunpowder, so they create the sound in the muzzle flash, but they don't have an actual projectile. And then, of course, you have live ammunition, which should never be allowed on set. The bullet that was fired was actually a live bullet. It wasn't like when Brandon Lee got killed on the set of The Crow, which was actually a blank, but there was something lodged in the barrel of the gun. This was a live bullet. Only once have I personally dealt with any sort of ammunition at all. In a staged production of Mother Courage and Her Children at UC Santa Cruz, I was the prop master. This is what the gun looked like. And before the show, every night, I had to load the gun, and then afterward, I emptied any unused cartridges. These weren't blanks, really. They were actually percussion caps, which are a weaker type of blank. They have some gunpowder in it, but it's much less. So it makes a sound, but it doesn't have the flash. So let's get back to the lawsuit. I find it strange that this lawsuit is about the bullet supplier sending live rounds mixed with dummy rounds, and yet it takes a long time to get to that point, and there is a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with that in this lawsuit. This paragraph here seems to be in direct opposition to what she's claiming about the ammunition. She's saying that the camera crew that quit the day before had returned to set that day to get their equipment, and she's implying that maybe they had something to do with it. But if that was the case, then what does the guy who supplied them have to do with it? It seems like this lawsuit is really throwing a lot of things at the wall and seeing what sticks. It reminded me a lot of when Alec Baldwin came out with the statement that he hadn't pulled the trigger and that the gun had malfunctioned.
The trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger.
So you never pulled the trigger?
No. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them, never.
It seems to be maybe trying to shift blame away from Gutierrez-Reed. The lawsuit mentions more than once that Gutierrez-Reed was key props assistant as well as the armorer, and suggests that that was a heavy workload. So on some level, she's blaming the producers for hiring her for such a hard job.
This is the way.
This is the way.
She also throws prop master Sarah Zachary and prop assistant Nicole Montoya under the bus in kind of a weird way. She mentioned that Sarah's the one that would receive the ammunition when it was sent to set from the supplier, and suggests that they acted kind of strangely on the morning of the shooting. The bullets were never locked up. That wasn't procedure. The guns were locked up, the bullets were not locked up. But then she says that she personally loaded Baldwin's gun. These other two women were not involved. And then she gave the gun to Dave Halls, the first assistant director, who had the gun for about 15 minutes before he gave it to Baldwin. So those 15 minutes, she cannot account for what happened to the gun because she was not on the set. She is suggesting that maybe somebody tampered with it at that time. I'm not sure how the bullets from the box could have gotten into the gun at that point. That's a lot of things that would have to happen really quick. And then we finally get to some stuff which seems much more relevant to the case, and quite complicated. Her father, Thel Reed, who's an experienced armorer, had previously worked with Seth Kinney, and at some point had left a 10 of live ammunition in his custody. And those are the bullets that Gutierrez-Reed believes were the ones that were accidentally sent in the box of dummies. Are those the bullets that were in the box? I don't know. Both sides seem to be pointing fingers at the other one. So the three scenarios that could have happened. The supplier, Seth Kinney, accidentally sent live rounds mixed with the dummy rounds to the set. They were then accidentally loaded into Baldwin's gun by Gutierrez-Reed, who then gave the gun to assistant director Dave Halls, who gave it to Baldwin, who pointed at Halyna Hutchins and shot. A disgruntled crew member brought live ammunition mixed with dummies to the set and left it in the prop trailer. Gutierrez-Reed then accidentally loaded the gun with his live ammunition and gave it to the assistant director, who then gave it to Baldwin, who then shot Halyna Hutchins. A disgruntled crew member or the supplier somehow sent ammunition to the set, and it was in the prop trailer. However, Gutierrez-Reed did not load that ammunition in the gun, so it would have remained in the box, and then she sent the gun to the set with David Halls, and it remained there for 15 minutes, and in that time, someone went to the box that she had loaded from that had both live and dummy ammunition, took live rounds out, snuck onto the set, loaded it into the gun when no one was looking, and then the gun was given to Baldwin and he pointed it at Halyna Hutchins and shot. Is it possible these bullets got sent? Yes, it is. Does that exonerate anyone that I have previously stated? No, it does not. It just adds a first step. I think it was a series of mistakes that led to tragedy. One more thing. Some people said that it was 100% Baldwin's fault because he should have checked the gun when they handed it to him. If the armorer couldn't tell the difference between the bullets, how is Alec Baldwin going to tell? That is not the actor's job. I'm going to let you in on a little secret here. You don't have to be smart to be an actor. Now, he shouldn't have pointed it at somebody, so he is 100% responsible for that part of it. As my loyal viewers will know, I always like to throw in a little footage of myself in videos that are relevant to the topic. So, here's another video of me in a movie with a gun.
Who's there? Who's there?
That was just a cap gun, so it's not really that relevant. But I used up all the real guns in the last video. Anyway, that's all for today. So I hope, as always, you will give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, feel free to comment, hopefully nice comments. And of course, watch my other videos, and until next time.